Next, we have WAF, the Web Application Firewall, which allows you to protect your web applications from common web exploits at the layer 7. So this is the HTTP layer. You can deploy it on the application balancer to get localized rules. You can deploy it on the API gateway to get rules running at the regional or edge level. You can deploy it on CloudFront, and these rules are going to be running globally on all edge locations where CloudFront is. And this could be used, for example, if you wanted to have a web application firewall for your classic load balancer, your EC2 instances, custom origins, or S3 websites, you would have CloudFront and then deploy WAF on CloudFront. You can also deploy it on AppSync, and this is going to allow you to protect your GraphQL APIs directly. So remember that WAF is not used for DDoS protection. For this, we have Shield. WAF is used for layer 7 type of exploits. So for this, you're going to define web ACL, so the web access control list. And the rules can include IP addresses filtering, HTTP headers, HTTP body, URL strings. You can have common attacks protection, such as SQL injection or cross-site scripting, XSS. You can have size constraints to say, hey, any request bigger than 20 megabytes I don't want. You can have geomatch to block or allow a specific country. And you can have rate-based rules, so to count occurrences of events and say, hey, if this happened more than 5 times per second, this looks fishy, block it. And the rule actions can be allow or block, as we know, to allow or to block traffic. They could be count, and that's an interesting one. This is to see if a rule would be in effect or not. So this allows you to detect false positives ahead of time. So you would just count occurrences and analyze the result of a count operation, but the traffic is still allowed through, so you do count before block. Or CAPTCHA if you wanted to protect some traffic with a CAPTCHA to make sure that there is some client-side verification before it gets to you. So something super important for you to know is that WAF has managed rules, and you need to know it for the exam. So there are over 190 managed rules, and I'll give you some of the most important. They are ready-to-use managed rules that will be from AWS or the marketplace sellers, and they allow you to just power up WAF very quickly. So you get baseline rule groups, which is general protection from common threats. And this include the managed rule common rule set, the managed rules admin protection rule set, and so on. So they're just baseline for common protection. Then you have use case specific rule groups, and they give you protection for many use cases, such as the SQL rule set, the Windows rule set, the PHP rule set, the WordPress rule set to protect this kind of application. Then you get IP reputation rule groups. And this is to block requests based on the source IP. So for example, you have a malicious IP, and there is this very important rule called the Managed Rules Amazon IP Reputation List, which is a list of all the IPs that are trusted by AWS and those that are not trusted by AWS. And this can help you block spammers very quickly. You can also get anonymous IP list as a rule, and so on. And finally, there's a bot control managed rule group to block and manage requests from bots. So this includes, for example, the AWS Managed Rule Bot Control rule sets. So as you can see, we have 4 kinds of managed rule buckets: baseline, use case specific, IP reputation, and bot control. And the thing that can come up in exam is one of these, including the Amazon IP reputation list. Okay, so what about logging for WAF? This is also something that can come up in the exam. So, well, WAF can send logs to Amazon CloudWatch log groups, and you get a debit of 5 megabytes per second maximum. You can also send it to Amazon S3 buckets, and the logs will be sent every 5 minutes. Or if you want to have more control, well, you can send it directly from WAF to Kinesis Data Firehose, in which case you are only limited by the Firehose quotas. Well, why would you do this? Well, for example, if you have very high traffic, very high logging capacity requirements, then using KDF could be a very good thing. And then from Kinesis Data Firehose, you can send it to any destination supported by Kinesis, such as Amazon S3, Redshift, OpenSearch, and so on. So using WAF, there is a solution architecture you need to know, which is to enhance CloudFront origin security. So let's say we have CloudFront in front of an application balancer talking to EC2 instances, and we want to make sure that only the traffic coming from Amazon CloudFront is allowed into the application balancer, and not, for example, site traffic if we were to have the URL of the application balancer. So how would we do this? Well, using WAF, we can already set up some web ACLs on the CloudFront level. This is not going to help us with the application balancer, but at least we control some level of security on the client. Okay. Next, what's going to happen is that on Amazon CloudFront, you can create what's called a custom HTTP header. and you have it, for example, set to X origin verify, and then a secret string. And so this will be added to every request that goes through Amazon CloudFront. The result of which is that we can also set up WAF on the application load balancer. And we create a filtering rule that says that any traffic that has this header, the X origin verify and the value, will be allowed, and anything else will be rejected. So that means that someone, a user, trying to access directly the ALB, of course, they don't know about the fact you're using custom HTTP headers because they're hidden from the users. Therefore, they cannot access your ALB because they will be blocked by WAF directly. On top of it, you can set up auto rotation of this HTTP header to have maximum security. So using Secrets Manager, we can have a secret that is automatically rotated using a Lambda function. And the Lambda function will update once in a while the custom HTTP header value with a new value in CloudFront, and of course, update the filtering rule in AWS WAF. So that's it for this lecture. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.